could be that light knocking, because they're not OEM brake pads. One of those things always scares me, though, because I stress safety. And I like to bring it to the professionals, and I trust them, right? So, and then this Black Hawk helicopter flies over, and I'm like, well, those guys, they fly within spec, right? They that's how I like to try and conduct myself if I can. And I'm like, they have an endless supply of money almost. I don't, right? I don't have an endless supply of money to change out all the parts when I need to. No, they don't have an endless supply of money, but they definitely have, more access to, there's no reason why they aren't flying within spec. They have the parts, all that stuff. I try to apply the same thing to myself. I don't want to be driving around there being a road hazard out there. It's another reason why I like bringing it to the professionals, Speaking of road hazards. So, heroes. Okay, heroes. Stay safe. All right, everybody. I'm doing an update on my, I guess this is Joker versus the VA. I did Joker versus lawyer versus Joker versus district attorney. This is going to be Joker versus VA, and it's going to be a longer process, but this is kind of the beginning. I've already been doing some of the work on it. I've got some footage, but some of that stuff might be saved for in case there's legal litigation or whatever. But I'm taking a path that I think is necessary, and it's to file a tort claim. Now, from what I gather, tort claims, or at least this, they call it a SF-95, and it's a claim. It's a paperwork, a PDF for claim for damage, injury, or death that you can file to a federal agency within the federal government. And in this case, it's going to be the VA, and it's a standard form you fill out, and it's part of that process. If you feel like, if you ever had any kind of property damage, personal injury, or wrongful death, this is the claim. This is the form you would file for compensation, basically. So that's what I'm doing. I filled it out today. I submitted it. They responded, and I think it's all automated, but they have like 6 months to do an administrative review and then make a decision, So what I filled out was, the basis of the claim. You fill out the date of the incident, and for tort claims, from what I understand, you have, like, for medical malpractice, you have 2 years from the incident or the date that you realize an incident or malpractice has occurred, the time the clock starts ticking from that moment on. And you need to basically start getting your stuff in order, or, the longer time goes on, the harder it is to prove or go after, in some cases. So this one, it's tricky because the incident that I'm most concerned about was 2019, and a lot of time has passed since then. But I was still heavily medicated by the VA. And I'm just now realizing, I'm going to put my date down as when I realized that there was a serious problem as last year, October 30th, 2025 was the last prescription they wrote me for Adderall, and Adderall was a big part of 2019. Now that's still proof that they're neglecting, and that I mean, it could be also because I was still employed at Habitat, and that was the last prescription they wrote. And actually, I wasn't employed at Habitat, but I was employed at Habitat the year prior to that. was it 2024, and they were prescribing me Adderall, and I lost my job. Things got out of control. I lost my job. So there's definitely been, you know, a track record of reckless, negligent prescription of these medications over and over and over again. Things flare up, they get bad, they take it away, and then they give it back. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. The last prescription they wrote me was in October 30th, 2025. And I haven't requested one since because I've been pretty serious about stopping all the meds. I have enough evidence to prove that I shouldn't be on meds, and they should stop prescribing me those meds. So it's caused nothing but problems in my life. I believe that I wrote down basis for the claim would be receiving medical care at these facilities, doctors and care teams that were assigned to me repeatedly ignored warning signs and symptoms being reported or presenting in person. The evidence will prove failed management and overprescription, reckless prescribing practices resulted in serious bodily harm and psychological injury to myself, my family, and some of the behavior and symptoms that were being reported and logged by them themselves, or this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that. And I'm not going to share all that information with you, but they were quite literally logging all this stuff themselves, and they were still prescribing all these contradicting meds in a reckless way that was dangerous, not just to me, but to my family, the community, and not just this community, but a lot of communities that I ended up blacking out and driving through, right? Thank God nothing, well, I don't know that nothing happened or not, right? So that's the scary thing. As a result of this negligence. So then property damage, I'm not putting any property damage down on this claim, and I'm going to write for the personal injury section / wrongful death. As a result of negligence and failed management, myself and my family suffered serious legal, financial, physical, mental, emotional damage, to include but not limited to PTSD, legal fees, medical bills, loss of relationships, family structure, loss of wages, and then my daughter now suffers quite heavily from PTSD and loss of faith in this system that was supposed to be helping us. And then if you have witnesses, you would put the witnesses down, and then they ask for an amount of claim. So you do a personal injury section, you fill out how much you want to be compensated for. If there's property damage, you put that there. Wrongful death, you put that there. And then in the last section here, you want to put the total amount that you want to be compensated for. You sign it, and then enter your phone number, date of signature, and then on the back, insurance coverage, you fill that stuff out. Then you submit it. So they have up to 6 months to review, investigate, and then reach out to me for any additional evidence, and then either deny it or have a counter offer for me. And either way, I can choose to appeal their decision in the federal courts. I can file a lawsuit at that point in time. 6 months. If they fail to give me an answer, I can file a lawsuit in the federal courts. Or if they give me an answer and I don't like it, I can appeal it or file a lawsuit. In that case, those take up to 2 years longer to go through the whole system. Now, chances are, who knows what's going to happen, but if I don't file the claim, it's automatic no. You know what I mean? So it doesn't hurt to, if you think you have a good case, it doesn't hurt to submit the application. And there's times where you're going to think that you don't have a good case, but really think about it, do the research, and submit it anyway. The sooner the better, because you start building a track record of, and then they can go back and do back pay stuff. But that's my update on the Joker versus VA. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.